wherein everybody can understand that what is the relation between food, nutrition, and health. So I'm going to put it in a scientific perspective today to make you understand. So let me first share the PPT. Just a minute. We all consume food. We all know that what is the importance of food. What is this happening? Is it visible?
No, ma'am, not it.
Not it. Okay. 1 minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Now
Okay.
it is visible.
Yeah, I'll put it on slideshow.
Yes.
Okay. So you all are welcome to Mysore University. I wish you had visited the Mysore University campus. Anyways, this is this is our sorry. This is our administrative office, Crawford Hall, which was built long ago. I mean, as you know, our university started in 1916. Now, coming to the topic, what we are going to discuss today, it is about relation between food, nutrition, and health. So, all of us are familiar with consumption of food. Why do we consume? Because we are hungry, or to satisfy our taste buds, or from the health point of view, you may be asked to avoid something or not consume something or include something if we suffer from deficiency. So we'll try to understand these intricacies or what is the relation between these three aspects. So first of all, what is the science of food? How do we define science of food? Is like we study about the chemistry of food, and there is something of physics and biology and economics of food and its production. And besides, it involves agriculture and veterinary science because human beings consume even animal foods. The amount and type of food what we consume will vary according to the environment condition, that is where we live, whether it is a cold climate or in a hot climate or temperate. And also it differs based on how you store food, how you prepare, and how it is distributed after it is prepared at home. Or it may also depend on the public distribution system, because food is not made in one place. It is not grown in, everything is not grown in one place. So there will be a lot of transportation involved and how it is stored before it reaches the local market. There are also differences between people, like you may like something, I may not like another, and that is based on the sensory, personal, cultural, social, and medical condition of the individual. So nutrients are those which are present in the food, and along with the nutrients, food has other non-essential substances also. Like for example, there might be additives or toxicants and contaminants also. So by and large, there are overall 46 nutrients have been discovered, have been reported to be essential for maintaining good health, which are provided by the various types of food we eat. The nutrients are categorized as carbohydrates, proteins, fats or lipids, and vitamins and minerals. Vitamins further are divided as fat-soluble vitamins and water-soluble vitamins. And among the various minerals, you might have heard of iron, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, etc., including sodium. These are some of the major minerals which are required. Now, in this picture, what I'm trying to explain is that you see, like when we talk of nutrition, there are other things also which make us maintain a good health. Good health, that is our lifestyle, and how much, what is the level of hydration, that is your fluid status. Then, are you stressed or are you relaxed? Then how is your vitality? Vitality is how flexible and vital are you? And how is your sleep habit? habits, and are you emotionally balanced, etc. So for us to enjoy good health, we must be exhibiting all these various aspects in a proper balance. So it's also in the mind, like what you like to eat, what you do not like to eat is also controlled by our mind. And another aspect is that we sometimes don't relate that eating, or I mean, may increase whatever we eat, may become a risk factor for development of chronic diseases. So today we have realized that there are many unhealthy food habits which can result in increasing the risk for chronic diseases. And when we say we are healthy, it is not just being free from any disease, it is also being fit. That is, physically, we must be fit so that you can carry out all your physical activity, your personal activity, etc., without getting fatigued very early or without getting tired. So here is a diagram which explains about the determinants of health and disease. So you can see that genetics is one, what we are born with, the genes which we get from our parents, and the environment in which we live, that is the family, the culture, the traditions, etc. And in the environment also access and availability of the food. Then food behavior is not the physical behavior, it is the food behavior. That is, what are your likes and dislikes, and how much awareness you have about the what knowledge you have about nutrition and food, etc. So a coordination, that is, these are the three important factors which influence and determine how healthy or unhealthy we are. Okay, so to continue more on the determinants, apart from these three, like we have economic status. You may be aware that you have to consume these foods, but your purse may not permit you. So based on the economic status, a person may have to limit the purchases of food. Then living in a hot climate, you may compromise on various others, and some food may not be available there based on the geographical area where you are living, and also based on the history in the sense, like the family history of diseases, and also family history of food culture, food traditions, etc. So all of them exert a strong psychological and sociological basis. And we have a lot of studies which have shown scientific data on food habits, attractiveness of the diet, then quality of food, and alimentation is our digestion ability to digest and absorb. All of them have been explored by using epidemiological tools, and this has given us a lot of information from the population studies or epidemiological studies, that there are many more factors beyond this which influence the choice of food, and also the health or disease status an individual is at present. Okay. Then apart from that, we have advancement in medical genetics, which has given us a lot of knowledge about the DNA sequencing and genomics. And today nutrition has gone to the molecular level. Okay, so to define food in a very simple way, or for in a layman's language, we can say it is an edible substance. We don't consume everything which is available or which is grown on trees. We don't consume all the plants which are green in color, or all the fruits which we find on various trees. So these foods are either solid or liquid in nature. And when we consume these foods, there are actually 7 food groups, and these provide energy, they provide body, they help in building the body, growth and development, and also repair. That is, when we are sick, there are certain or there might be some displacement of cells, and also to repair that, and in maintaining the metabolism of various nutrients. So putting together all of this, we can say that food plays a physiological role, psychological role, and social role. So why do we make certain food choices? Like, all of us, may consume cereals, pulses, vegetables, etc., whatever it is. But still, there are some factors which influence the choice of food. For example, you can start from the right hand side. Food choice behavior in affluent societies, that is, if they are more financially the stronger and they are more rich, then your food choice is different. Then our food choice also is dependent on marketing and consumer behavior. That is how the food industry or the manufacturer markets his product also influences our choice of food. Then economic influences on food choice. Everybody is aware of that. And besides this, even though you have access to food, you can afford it, still we are governed by our attitudes and beliefs. That is, if you assume or if you believe, strongly believe that some food is not good for you, or it can cause some kind of a food allergy or some adverse reaction, we will never consume it. Or there might be some other beliefs, so which can influence our food choices. And ultimately, it is the mood and performance. Like if we are not in a mood, definitely the best of the food, if it is served also, we will not accept it and consume it. So this is a diagram or a figure which shows that what are the various factors which influence the food what we choose to eat. Okay. So there have been changes in the food habits, and there is a change in the food demand. Like today, more food is available, and what is it because of is growing affluence. I think all of you agree with me that the affordability of majority of the population in our country has increased, so we are able to afford food. That is why you can see that so many restaurants and hotels are upcoming, and people are changing their food habits. And there is also a change in the lifestyle. Yes, because of urbanization, our lifestyle has undergone a change. And besides that, there is expansion of the middle class with more both the husband and wife working, so there is a better income. And as I said, because of higher participation of women in workforce, our financial status, family financial status, we are seeing a change in that. And on the other hand side, you can see that is a demand, and this is the supply side. You can see that there is a closer integration. That is thanks to foreign direct investment. FDI has been opened, and now we have access. Many foods which were available in other countries, now because of better trade and transport, these are open, and we get so many novel and exotic foods are available in our markets also. And there is a even the freight and transportation costs are much lesser now compared to earlier times. And as you all are aware, and you are witnessing, there is a tremendous growth in supermarkets and hypermarkets and fast food outlets. So there is the demand is also because of these, and on the supply side, because of these factors, more food is now available. So in case if we make faulty food behavior, why are we so concerned about it? Is because in case if we make wrong food choices, it can have a lot of consequences or repercussions. It can determine the current health status, or our faulty food habits can, increase the risk for developing chronic diseases in later years of life. And for women particularly, the bone mineralization will be compromised, and this can increase the risk of osteoporosis and the onset of anemia or overweight and obesity. And we all know, and it is a well-known and proven fact, that excessive body weight will give rise to is a big risk factor for development of hypertension or cardiovascular disease or diabetes, depression, even infertility, etc. So, some studies across the world have shown what is the effect of eating fast food, especially when you consume fast foods or junk foods. We are consuming more of energy, and it will definitely have an effect on BMI. BMI is body mass index. That is, our body weight increases, and when you express the body weight in relation to your height, there is a value we get. So, if it is more than 26, 27, that means you are overweight, or you are in grade 1 obesity or grade 2 obesity, then it increases the cardiovascular risk. So many studies across the world have shown that long-term consumption or habitual consumption of fast food can increase the risk of obesity, increase the risk for developing cardiovascular diseases, cancer, etc. So even the effect of socioeconomic status has been studied, and we all agree that advertising today, media has a big role to play in promoting certain foods. So apart from that, fast food also has had some deleterious effect on our behavior, especially of children, mental alertness, and psychological influence. So the our nutritional behavior, that is the foods which we choose and eat, it is all determined by our biology, our anthropology, economics, psychology, sociocultural factors, and home economics. So it ultimately this is shaped by the individual situation also. You may like to eat something, but it is not available, it is not possible for us to prepare or obtain it. So from a public health point of view, outcome is often unsatisfactory because it is associated with preventable cases of various diseases. That was the foundation I laid for us to understand the importance of food choices and why we make these food choices. What are the factors which affect the food what we buy and eat? Now let's move on to understand, is there a change in the way we eat today, especially Indian consumers? Yes, there is. The dietary mix, that is what you are eating today, is very different from what we were eating 20 years ago. And our flavor, that is our likeness towards certain foods, has changed, and definitely it is fast changing, because 20 years ago, fast food was not so popular. The fast food would be associated only with maybe samosas and deep fried foods or pastries, etc. But today the palette has changed, and our palette has changed, and the items which are on the plate of the Indian consumer also has changed. So here I have a very interesting picture depiction to explore how we were eating then. Then is earlier. You can all recall your own childhood or the younger days. I mean, how food used to be served either in hotels or in weddings or at home. These are the various ways how we would make choices of food, or how food used to be presented to us. When you go to a hotel, by and large, the choice would be masala dosa or something like that. So here you can see that a waiter has stacked the plates of masala dosa. So that means it was more popular. But now the palette has changed. Now is what I think all of you do agree with me, that all the food courts which you see in all the shopping malls and in the all the busy shopping centers, everywhere you can see the youngsters, or even the along with the youngsters, the elderly also, that is their parents or elders, are also compelled to opt for these so-called fast foods. So that was how we were eating before. Even today there are people who still have traditional food choices, but by and large it has changed. So here are some scientific data which I'm presenting, where analysis has been done to understand what we are eating more and what we are eating less. This was conducted between 1983 and 2000. Now, if we look after 23 years, we can find that there is a major change in what we are eating today, and what we are eating more and what we are eating less. Definitely today we are eating more of sugar, salty foods, and then high fat. We are eating these foods in a higher proportion. So you can see, surprisingly, this in this study, even in the low income group, the consumption of cereals has fallen by 10%, whereas in the high income group it has fallen by 20%. So the trend is not uniform in the low income and the high income group. But I would want to draw your attention on the last aspect, that is meat, eggs, and fish has increased. In the high income group, it is much higher. Even in the low income group, you can see the consumption of flesh foods is on the rise. So today it is even more higher. Now, what is the present diet trend? Nutritionists call this present diet trend as obesogenic. That means the choice of foods what we are eating, what the choices what we are making are high in salt, sugar, and fat. And this kind of a combination, this kind of a food environment is expressed as obesogenic. That means one which can cause us to become obese soon. So the main culprit is availability, ready availability of large portions of foods and high quantity of and variety of energy dense snacks, sweets, and fast foods available. And whole grains and fresh foods are eaten in a very lower proportion. And adolescents, youngsters are eating excess of these energy dense, yet, but they are nutrient deplete foods. So ultimately, the diets are lacking in whole grain fruits and vegetables, or they are not nutritious. Okay, so what is the impact of the changing trend of food intake and how it can have an impact on health? So in this table, I have tried to depict, for example, the decrease in the consumption of whole cereals can increase the health impact it can have is it can increase the risk of diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Today we want all the cereals and everything is in the refined form we are consuming. Seldom do we consume too much of whole cereals. Then there is a decline in pulse consumption. This can result in protein deficiency, also increase the risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Similarly, there is a rise if the fruits and vegetable consumption is increased, it can have an opposite effect on diabetes and CVD. Fats and oil consumption is increased, and this is the reason for obesity and CVD. Similarly, meat and dairy products and salt consumption can increase the risk of hypertension, diabetes, and CVD. These are the three chronic diseases, non-communicable diseases. Besides this, lifestyle also is very important. It is not just the food which ensures us health, it is also the lifestyle. As we know, lifestyle is something we use. This is a term, general term used to describe how an individual or a family or how they live in a society and how they manage, that is the physical, psychological, social, and economic environments on a day-to-day basis. And we can express or depict the lifestyle as on a daily basis. What is your life pattern? Like, what is your schedule? How do you, when do you get up? What do you do? What are your interests? What are your activities, etc.? So this is nothing but a pictorial depiction of healthy lifestyle. Like, you know, what choices? If we say a person is leading a healthy lifestyle, then that means he's making healthy choices of food. And there is a regular medical examination he or she undergoes. And he also undertakes some kind of a relaxation. That could be by meditation or by doing yoga or by any other means. And you are leading an active lifestyle by incorporating some regular physical activity, and you are regularly keeping track of your body weight, and you are taking some action in order to maintain your fitness by doing regular exercises. So from a psychological viewpoint, lifestyle derives from people's self-image. Like here it is, I have just tried to show, it is a pussycat which is looking into a mirror, but it is imagining that it should look like a lion. So that is what is the self-image or the self-concept. Many of us strive to be perfect in everything. So for attaining perfection, especially in terms of physical health, there are 3 points, 1, 2, and 3. That is regular activity coupled with good nutrition and along with adequate rest. That is restful sleep. All these three are the three important factors which contribute to attainment of physical health. So we can say that psychological viewpoint, a healthy lifestyle, if a person is leading, it means that it's a integration of motivations, need, and wants, and it can also be influenced by culture, family, and the social class, the society where we live. Now, here are some time trends. Indians today, we are eating twice as much meat, egg, and fish as Indians in the early 80s were eating. Fruit consumption has risen but we are not eating fresh fruit. The form in which we are eating is different. We may be consuming it as fruit juices or in ice creams or in, all are processed and consumed. So it is not the whole fruit which we are consuming, it is processed fruit. And what is eaten less than before are cereals. So we are not consuming whole grains or less polished rice, and whole pulses are not eaten in larger proportion. So India has seen a lot of transition, that is changes in the last 6 decades in terms of demography. We have more elderly now. Then in terms of social aspect also, we have seen a social transition, health transition, nutrition transition. In terms of health transition, I would like to say that we have moved from now communicable diseases like cholera, plague, smallpox, etc., to non-communicable diseases. In terms of nutrition, we have moved over from eating healthy foods, unrefined foods, to more refined and unhealthy foods. Economically, we have seen a transition, that is our financial status. So people are, we are, thanks to double income, families, the economic status of most families is improved. And agriculturally also, we have seen a transition. This is for good, because when you are using more of technology in agriculture, the labor saving, I mean, it will be labor saving, and the manual input will be reduced, and it can also result in better yield for the farmer. So this is a picture to show in humorous state, like, it's in humor. See how we have evolved over the years, and in between you can see that you are finding very hefty fellows in between, and then again after becoming obese, we are again vying or taking a lot of trouble in order to lose that excess weight to become more healthy. So I will not focus on the transitions of the others. I will focus on the nutrition transition. Nutritionists define nutrition transition as a shift from consumption of simple traditional nutritious food to heavily marketed foods, that is, which are high in calories, sugar, and animal fat. They are low in protective nutrients. So the protective nutrients are vitamins and minerals, and largely we derive these protective nutrients from fresh fruits and vegetables. So globally, dietary patterns are shifting. So this nutrition transition characterizes the shift in disease patterns also. So this shift, the nutrition transition from whole grains or less processed food to more processed food, is having a lot of impact on our health status today. So what does research tell us? There is a 7% decrease in energy derived from carbohydrates. There is a 6% increase in energy derived from fatty foods. We are consuming less of coarse cereals. We are consuming more of meat and meat products and salt. And our physical activity levels are declining. And all of them are contributing to obesity, dyslipidemia, that is, your blood lipid profile will be very different, high cholesterol, high LDL, etc. Then subclinical inflammation and type 2 diabetes and coronary heart disease in Indians. So here is a graph showing the trends in consumption, like from between 1975 to 79 and comparison to 2001. You can see that there is a gradual decline in consumption of cereals and millets, and more or less pulses and legumes has decreased and then risen, and it is still much lesser as what was the amount we were consuming in the 70s. And fats and oil increase has increased. Sugar intake has also increased, and in between, and now it is reduced. But the latest figures say that sugar products are increasingly consumed now. So you can see roots and tuber consumption is also on the rise. Now this data is of 2000 and 2001. The recent National Family Health Survey data also shows There is a rise in the consumption of milk and milk products. We are consuming maybe in the form of ice creams and milkshakes and others. Sugar is being consumed in all sugary and sweet foods, desserts, etc. We are consuming, and consumption of other vegetables and green leafy vegetables all has declined. So this changing trend, I think I've talked of that. So let's connect. I said relation between food, nutrition, and health. So let's connect the nutrition transition and the disease trends. Some of the diseases are referred to as lifestyle diseases. That is what type of life you live. That is your lifestyle. How physically active you are, or how long do you sleep, or how, I mean, do you suffer from any sleep disorder? Then are you in the habit of consuming alcohol, and do you smoke, and other healthful, other health habits, etc. So based on that, the research indicates that lifestyle diseases are those which appear to increase in frequency as countries are becoming more industrious and people are living longer. Now, these so-called lifestyle diseases have something in common, the three risk factors, which are thankfully modifiable. Like, this behavior we can change or give up. We can stop smoking, we can adopt healthy diet, and we can give up unhealthy habits, and we can become more physically active. And some of these diseases, as I have been mentioning, these are non-communicable and chronic diseases. Some statistics: diabetes affects 5 to 15% of the urban population. I think you will all agree with me that today there are many individuals who have been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and they are in their early 30s and early 40s. So it is the onset of diabetes has shifted. That is, the age is much younger now. At least 25% of the city dwellers are hypertensive, suffering from high blood pressure. And it is predicted by 2025, it is not too far off, that around 213.5 million will be hypertensive. And cancer, most of the cases, more than 70% of the cases are diagnosed in an advanced stage. And this is the reason for high mortality. And regarding smoking, these are the deadly four which are responsible for these non-communicable diseases. Among women, only 4%, but again, we are finding in cities and everywhere also, even in smaller towns, the younger population is more into smoking. And it is said that it can kill 1 in 5 and 1 in 20 females and males. And the estimated death in 2010 because of smoking was around 9.3 lakh. That is, among the deaths which have happened, 9.3 lakh deaths were attributed to smoking. So the NCDs, that is the non-communicable deaths in India, have risen in number. And these are the causes, as I just mentioned. So stroke, cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and chronic respiratory diseases all are on the rise. And the leading cause of these non-communicable diseases are these four aspects. So it is very alarming and very frightening to see that 72% of the urban Indians are at the risk of heart disease, and at least 80% of this 72% urban Indians are in the younger age group. And the disease estimate in 1990s was, in the blue, or the communicable diseases were on the rise. But now you can see that non-communicable diseases have interchanged, and it's about 57%. And communicable diseases are controlled thanks to improvement in hygiene, sanitation, and vaccines, immunization, etc. So here is an overview on nutrition transition and its health implication. Like, though it is a busy slide, but I'll try to explain. For example, earlier it used to be high fertility, but at the same time, we have also heard of women dying during childbirth, and this has I mean, nowadays we are finding that mortality has reduced because there is a change in age structure. On the contrary, the prevalence of infectious diseases is under control now. But there is a prevalence of undernutrition still in our society or in our country. And we still have fertility has come down, or rather, people are making choices to have smaller families. And as a result of that, there is a lot of spatial redistribution. Okay, so here in the next few minutes, I will be showing or discussing some of the studies on the effect of nutrient intake and glycemic load on central obesity, hypertension, and diabetes. We all know that rice, wheat, or all our millets provide us carbohydrates. And among all these nutrients, dietary carbohydrates is associated with abdominal obesity in women. One study indicated that the higher the dietary carbohydrate intake, those women had abdominal obesity. That is, they were obese in the central part of their body. Dietary carbohydrates and glycemic load is significantly associated with diabetes. That is, when we consume carbohydrates, that is converted to glucose and our blood glucose level increases. So that is the glycemic load. So more carbohydrates, if we consume, our blood glucose increases. So this is associated with diabetes, and sugar intake is associated with hypertension. All the time we say salt, but in some studies have surprisingly shown an association between sugar intake and hypertension. So based on that, some recommendations have been suggested for Asian Indians. That is, there are some specific dietary guidelines for healthy living and how to prevent obesity and diabetes. For that, we have to limit our carbohydrate intake. Especially, we must consume more of complex carbohydrates, less processed foods, and consume protein in the range of 10 to 15% of total energy. Salt intake should be less than 5. Unfortunately, we Indians love salt, especially pickles. However, we don't realize that pickles are made with salt, and this is it. WHO recommends salt intake to be less than 5 grams, and studies and surveys conducted in various states in India have shown our average salt intake is 15 grams, average, with variation, plus or minus 5. So it could be as high as 20 also in some communities or in some populations. So we are eating 3 times more salt than the WHO recommendations. And we should increase the consumption of fiber by including more of fresh fruits and vegetables. And we must reduce the consumption of saturated fat by making lesser choices of animal foods. So proper application of these guidelines can help in curbing the rising epidemic of diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and cardiovascular disease in Asian Indians. So it's very much evident that nutrition transition has already set in our country, but transition is necessary. And if there is a transition showing some positive aspects, then such a transition is acceptable. However, unfortunately, the nutrition transition, what we are seeing is attributed to a change in our food habits. We are consuming more of energy-rich foods. We are consuming more of refined grains and saturated fat and sugar and salt, along with the low intake of fiber, fruits, and vegetables. Because even if you're consuming fruit, you're consuming it in a different form. You're not consuming whole fruit. Okay, it is maybe as a fruit juice. So when it is the texture changes, the consistency changes of the fruit, you are eliminating all the fiber and you are adding sugar also to that fruit juice, and that is how the composition changes. So such changes in food consumption and physical activity patterns, along with demography and epidemiological transition, all of them are contributing to increase in prevalence of non-communicable diseases. So healthy lifestyles is what is the need of the hour. We need to adopt a healthy lifestyle. And here is some suggestions. Like, we must be active for at least an hour or so in our daily 24 hours. Choose whenever you're thirsty, instead of going in for coffee, tea, or any fruit juice processed, this one, Pepsi or cola. Choose water only, or at the most, it can be tender coconut or even buttermilk. Eat more of fruit and vegetables in its whole form, and do not eat in front of the TV, because we'll not know what we are eating and how much we are eating. And eat fewer snacks and select healthier alternatives. So these are some suggestions, like, what I talked, I've put it in the pictorial form to be more active. And instead of choosing these heavy sugar laden drinks, you can choose water as a drink, or tender coconut, or plain fruit juice. Eat more healthy food, be more active, and eat less of all these packaged foods. So good foods should be allowed in the house, and bad foods should be sent out. And eat dinner as a family, and slim down the favorite meals. Of course, all of us have our own personal likes and dislikes, but very frequently these favorite foods should not be prepared. It should be occasionally, and minimize the snacking. There is a habit of maybe at mid morning you consume some tea, but along with that, if it is chips or potato fingers, or finger chips, or deep fried product like samosa or something, we forget that it is giving us extra calories, extra energy, which is not required at that time. So constant snacking, especially in children, it can contribute for weight gain. And if they are less hungry, they'll be less willing to try new foods. So as a parent, it is our responsibility to set some guidelines. So whenever they are hungry, instead of uh, serving them with something like a burger or any such foods, fast foods, or which are high energy, it should be either fruits or something made at home, rather than purchased food. Then TV room should be a no eating zone, because this, first of all, excessive TV watching, we know, can lead to inactivity, and we can do mindless munching. And as a family, we must spend some time, um, because this can encourage family bonding, and it also improves the mood. Being together also helps in relieving the stress. And we need to consume healthy food. We have to make healthy food choices. And in this regard, Government of India has started this Eat Right India, campaign, and wherein they are promoting and creating awareness among the general public to reduce the salt, sugar, and oil, in order to decrease risk of diabetes, hypertension, and heart diseases. So how can we achieve that? If you're eating a salad, avoid sprinkling salt, or avoid using sugar on your fruit or anything. Then limit the salty, sweet, and oily food. Replace with healthier options. Buy limited quantity. See, today when we visit the supermarket, uh, instead of restricting to what we want to buy, we are lured by the options, the attractive options which are given: buy one get one free, or pay for one get another free, get 30% extra. So we are getting attracted by that, and without even realizing whether we are going to use that or not, we tend to buy that. So always stick to what we need. We buy only that much. Then use smaller measuring spoons to add salt, sugar, and oil. This is one thing we never realize. 1 gram of carbohydrate gives 4 kilocalories, whereas 1 gram of oil gives 9 kilocalories. So every time we eat anything made wherein oil is used, fat is used, it is 2.25 times higher in energy. So the next time we reach out, we have to be mindful about how much of oil is being used in our food preparation. Then there is yet one more awareness being promoted by Food Safety Standards Authority of India, that is repurpose used cooking oil. Cooking oil should be used only once for frying. Repeatedly using the same one can result in the formation of certain chemical substances. So that is why use less oil, and also try to use less oil while deep frying, and consume that fried oil within 2 days. Then eat fortified foods with added vitamins and minerals. Thankfully, today we are getting wheat flour which is multigrain atta, and which is fortified with B vitamins, iron, and folic acid. And all our edible oils are fortified with vitamin D and vitamin E. And another thing, what as consumers we can do is we have to read the labels before we buy. So this is something which is very important. It empowers the consumer to make good choices. And there is, I'm sure you might have seen this video wherein this particular film star has been used to promote as an ambassador to promote consumption of less salt, less sugar, less salt, and for oil, aaj se thoda kam. That is, you start today, from today, eat less of everything. So at the end, I would like to say, eat healthy to stay healthy. And thank you very much. And if you have any queries, I would be happy to answer.
Madam, here there are some questions that have been asked by Dr. Shivkumar sir. Sir has got a little a problem. So that's why he puts it in the chat box. So he has asked,
Okay.
dear madam, why don't CFTI open counter for public? And how can we believe the credential of organic products? And one more thing he has asked is,
Which edible oil
which
is
edible
good?
oil is good for cooking, madam?
Okay, see, let me take one by one.
Yeah.
CFTRI don't make food products. They do research on, various foods, or it can be some industry would have approached them to develop something and give. So they don't sell food. Okay, they have open day where they exhibit what technology they have invented, or what are the new food products which they have developed, but they don't do any selling. Okay, then regarding the credentials of organic products, again